Good evening, Gettysburg College, and welcome back to GTV News on Channel 34. I'm Brian Norcross.
And I'm Holden Mills.
And we're back to welcome you back from a lovely Thanksgiving break and to give you some news about what's going on around campus. In today's news, the school is no longer allowing student-run clubs to use the student charge function in the Cub building. The school says that they do not want to be used as a credit card company and are apparently losing money. Andrew Orange has the story.
Representatives from the college's Financial Operations Office came to Student Senate recently to discuss plans to end the student charge option that many clubs had used previously to help fundraise during sales in the Cub.
The credit cards, which you have all shared that you're familiar with, are very similar to the student charge, but there's also some differences. They're similar in that the student charge allows you to delay payment up to 30 days to the college. It's a revolving line of credit in essence. The college is issuing a short-term loan.
Students challenged the decision, citing fears that it would lower their revenues during their fundraising periods. Other options are currently being researched to replace the student charge.
As we're currently in the RFP process, one of the things that I am negotiating for is to find a bank that will give us an ATM that is fee-free. So, recognizing that we all don't want to carry cash, but if there is something that you wish to purchase or contribute to a fundraising event, the opportunity to access the ATM without a fee or penalty, regardless of which bank you may have an account with, is something that we're pursuing. We're also pursuing ACH. A lot of or e-check, some of you may know that if you're familiar with paying any bills over the web. Now, this may not be conducive to some of your Cub sales, but in the event, as the college moves more and more to web-based sales, we want to provide venues in addition to the credit card, which, that has its own cost constraints. The e-check or the ACH payment allows folks to use their checking account or whatever bank account, enter in that information as if it were a credit card, and get those proceeds zapped into the college's bank account as a payment. And that actually is a lower cost initiative than it is for the college to have credit cards.
It was determined by the college that the bookstore will still be allowed to have the student charge option as a form of payment due to the fact that the bookstore sells college essentials such as textbooks and other school supplies. This issue is sure to be one that is brought up more in the future, so look forward to more coverage from Gburg TV.
Last week was Fall Convocation with featured speaker Tim Wise, who gave a speech on the privilege of white anti-racist. For more on that story is our own Andrew Orange.
Fall Convocation is a yearly tradition that brings social activists to Gettysburg College each November. This year's celebration featured guest speaker Tim Wise, a white anti-racist, and author of the best-selling book, White Like Me. Wise challenged the packed audience to reevaluate the way they thought about racism and racial issues.
It's a point that I want to raise with you because if those who want to be our leaders, if those who claim to already have the qualities that make them leaders, which all of these individuals want you to believe they possess, if they aren't going to raise the issue, then we can't be surprised when the average person in the country doesn't think that it is an issue at all. We talk about the things that matter. And we care about the things we discuss. And if we're not talking about it, it becomes easier for folks to remain in that bubble of denial that says, well, it must not be an issue. Surely if it were an issue, they'd be talking about it.
Wise's message received an overwhelming amount of praise from students, administrators, and staff members.
I liked how honest he was.
It was intense.
I thought he was really well done.
It was really well done.
The whole thing was amazing. I don't know. I like how he did use humor, but at the same time it was a really serious issue.
I think it was very powerful, and it said a lot of the things that were on students of color's mind, but it came out in a different forefront.
I actually thought it was brilliant. He's an uncommonly good speaker. He did an amazing job. I thought
He was very passionate about what he was talking about.
Generally, people agreed about white privilege on our campus.
I'd say this is a very privileged school regardless of color.
Why?
$47,000 a year, you better believe we're privileged.
It's immensely prevalent, yeah.
Yes, it's a huge, and it's very evident. It's very evident in many of all my classes.
Yeah. Apparently it is.
I definitely think so. I mean, we are living in one of the centers of white privilege, America, of course, that is. And we also have the whole designation between black and white students. You can see it as we walk between classes.
But when challenged on what our campus could do to address the problem, most people didn't have any answers.
That I'm not sure. Hopefully now that we're being made aware of it, something will happen. And I'm not sure what I can do, but at least I'm aware of it now.
I think that we can really focus on preventing racism rather than correcting it. And that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound. So we need to integrate more fully at a lower level, earlier in age.
Well, you definitely need to...
Put us on the spot.
Yeah. He made a great point about how when you're privileged, you're secure in what you have, and there's no reason for you to confront it because you're not being negatively affected by it. In fact, it's probably positively affecting you, and I think that that's a huge problem here, is that this is a really privileged college in general, and people don't need to confront that in high school, in middle school, and even elementary school. That was not something they had to confront, and now we're becoming adults, and now it is a problem, and now we do need to look at ourselves and see what we have, and try not to take it for granted, and not only not take it for granted, but also notice there are people that don't have that option to take it for granted, and that there are people that are very, very negatively affected by it.
I hope that people ask for dialogue. And it's not so, why do all black students sit together at server? Because guess what? All white students sit together at server. And I hope that people get out of their comfort zones to meet other people and to have a question things so you don't feel afraid. Because the most thing that stops everybody from talking is fear. And once you let that fear go, it's endless.
Exactly. Though multiple panels on the issue were held directly after the event, not much action on campus is had within the last few weeks. Hopefully, people will become more passionate about the issue as the year goes on. This is Andrew Orange reporting for Channel 34 News.